Action. Okay, so basically what I have here is I'm trying to test these fuel injectors. They came out of a 944, and I suspect a couple of them are leaking because they've been sitting around for a long time. I have a rough idling, and I don't get a straight answer from anybody, so I have to do this myself. Basically, if you see here, I'm using a 944 fuel pump, a little reservoir, bulkhead fitting, return line, supply, pressure gauge, and a little valve here. And I got a little circuit here, timing circuitry that is going to pulse the injector. The pulse is around 60 to 80 hertz. You need to put this diode here so you don't get bouncing. If you don't have that diode in there, every time the coil clips, every time it switches, when the field's collapsed, it makes it bounce. So you have to put a diode there to stop it from bouncing. And this is basically a simple 555 circuit, but you have to do a little trick to narrow the duty cycle. Like the turn on has to be really short, so you don't leave this on for a long time. And I borrowed a power supply with permission from work, and I'm just running this degreaser through there. The degreasers are not good for the pump, but this is just a one-time thing for me, just to find out which one of those freaking injectors are leaking. But the biggest problem I have right now, which I don't know why, it's I get air trapped here, and this part right here, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? Right there. Air gets trapped there, and I don't get a good blast. That I can't figure out, but I'm trying to maintain 30 to 40 psi on this gauge over here by playing around with that valve. So you don't want the pressure to go too high because you might damage that. And also the pump seems to lock up after 40 psi, so I don't know if that's an interlock, the safety feature in the pump, or not. So let's see if you can see what I'm doing. I want to turn the fuel pump on. By the way, this pump pulls about 1 amp at no load, and around, when it's got like pressure buildup, it goes up to 3 amps, 3 to 4 amps. As you can see, the pump is working. See, it's like a little fish tank with radioactive water. Oh crap, I said radioactive, not it's gonna be on YouTube and they're gonna think I have actual radioactive waters, and the man in black will show up. So that's my pickle jar, which I obtained from a highly secretive source. Let's turn the power supply on. Can you hear it? So I'm going to try to build some pressure. And as you can see, there's a little stream here, but I don't think that's... My biggest concern is by putting 12 volts on the pump, by putting pressure on this side of the pump and 12 volts on the injector, if it's going to leak or not. Oh, I'm sorry. By putting pressure on one side of this injector and not having any voltage applied to the injector, if it's going to leak or not. Because what I saw up in the garage was pretty bad. As soon as I bypassed the DME, bypassed the fuel relay, it leaked like crazy. 2 of them, so I'm suspecting 2 of those are going to be bad. So let's see if I can get it's not that dramatic here. Right now it's about 20 psi. That's pretty good. Let me see if I can get that air out of that. Let's see if I can get the air out of there. Come on, baby. Well, this pressure on this hose, I can see it. But unless I'm not pulsing this correctly, I was kind of expecting it to be a more powerful burst, but that's what I'm getting. I was expecting a wide burst. So I'm just going to run this through a couple of cycles to clean that. It's a good degreaser, by the way. Biodegradable. And yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't expect it to be like extreme like that. I was expecting it to be more. It's pretty powerful actually, look. See that? That spray is pretty powerful. I'm not sure if the injector is dirty or what, but it should be more. If you feel the pressure hit, if you feel this hose, it's pretty tight. So that's about 30 psi. So I'm going to try the other one, see if I find any leaky ones. I'm not going to film every one unless I see a leak, then I'll show you guys the leak that I'm talking about. Because look, so if I turn the pulsar off, I'm not sure why the pump stopped, but fuel pump locked up. Let's go backwards. The fuel pump locked up, I don't know why. So this was a bad fuel pump. Yeah, I don't understand why. So anyway, so we stopped the recording. You saw what I was doing.